Hi, watch out, welcome back. 2017, eh, Pam?
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, here we are. Right, the first video of 2017, and as we said previously in a couple of videos ago, we're going to do a simple skills to kick this year off. Something we absolutely love doing is imparting those basic little bits and pieces that you can use on your bike and your projects and your builds that will really help you make a better job, turn out a higher end finish, and make you a bit more proud of what you're up to. Obviously, instilling confidence is what it's all about. So today I'm going to show you something really simple that my metalwork teacher showed me forever ago. Stop it, leave it. And honestly, I've kept it ever since. I've used it loads of times. Now, what it refers to is rust-proofing metal in a do-it-yourself at home kind of way. Now, we all use bolts, nuts, fasteners and whatnot on our bikes. When you're building anything, when you're fitting anything, when you're modifying anything, you're taking fasteners off and you're putting them back on again. Looking at factory fasteners, when we look at them, things like this, they've always got this kind of black finish to them, which, as you can see, is something that we're all familiar with. Well, how does it happen? I said to my metalwork teacher, Mr. Wilson, I said to him 36 years ago, how does it that back in the day before electroplating and chrome plating and all the rest of it, how did stuff not rust? They didn't really have stainless steel, so what happened? And he explained and he showed me and he actually made it a class. So it was something I learned a long time ago and I've used it loads of times since. So we've got, just to show you this, we've got obviously stainless steel bolts, very lovely, very modern, been around a lot less time than things like zinc bolts. So that's a standard steel bolt with a zinc coating. So all the electroplated coatings you can get are not really as good as what we're going to do here today, because this is something you can do over and over again. It costs next to nothing and it means you can use far more cheap and easy to get hold of bolts. I'm going to use this. Now, this is the kind of bolts I mean. You've all seen these black engineering bolts. You might call them engineering bolts, call them what you like. They're the sort of thing you see all over the place. And I've gone loads and loads of times and purchased bolts and fasteners from Screwfix, Allfix, all the different bolt places. And I've come out the door with these things as the only option. I said, have you got stainless? Have you got that? No, they haven't. They've only got it in an engineering finish. And that's designed for an engineering environment where it's not going to get wet, there's no weather going to get to it, and it's just going to stay oily and dirty, so it doesn't really matter. So what I'm going to do is first of all start by rubbing that coating off with a Scotch-Brite. As you can see, it comes off ever so easy. I don't even know what it is, to be honest. One of you will probably tell me. It's some sort of engineering finish. And when you take it out, look, that's what you end up with. That is just mild steel, simple as that. Now, my buddy Carlos has got a bolt exactly like that on his Harley Davidson Sportster, and it's got a tank lift, and it's the one that holds the tank lift on, and the head of it is rusted out to death because it wasn't treated before it went in. Doesn't mean it's the wrong bolt, it should have just been treated, and that's what I'm going to show you to do today. Very quick, simple skills, how to rust treat just the head of that bolt. You don't need to do the rest because the rest of it is inside the job. It's only the head with the washer that sticks out, and you don't want it rusting up because it looks horrible, it looks manky, and it will eventually impede the strength and integrity of the bolt. It will make it weak, so if it gets really rusty. And it will mean you can't get a socket cap. This is a socket cap, so if you can't get an Allen key in there because it's all built up with rust, you're never going to get it off, you're going to have drilling it out. So here is how you rust treat a simple bolt head so it will never ever rust, and you don't need any paint on it that will chip. It's as simple as this. Welcome back to the Delboy's Garage. Okay, tools for the job. Pair of grips to hold it because it's going to get hot. Simple propane blow lamp, the sort of stuff you get in your DIY store. You can use oxy and all the rest of it if you flash, and I've got that, but I haven't. And some engine oil. Now, you can use actually any oil you like. I'm just going to use a bit of clean motorcycle engine oil, that's it, simple as that, a little bit of clean oil. And again, you could use anything you want. In the past, this process goes back to the Iron Age, really. It goes back thousands of years, because long before there were any of these fancy coatings, metalsmiths would always use something, and normally it would be, I've read about this, it's bacon fat, pork fat, that sort of thing, or any sort of linseed oil, olive oil, sunflower oil, anything they could get that would be an oil, because there was no motor oil 3,000 years ago. So they just used an oil of sorts. It's as simple as that. Right, now the first thing we need to do is heat the bolt up. But before before the blow lamp starts roaring and you can't hear me, I want to talk about the heating process. When you heat something, it goes through a stage of colours. It goes through a yellow. That yellow turns into like a straw brown colour. That brown then starts to take on a blue colour. Then it goes purple. And then it will go white. Not white as in snow, but it will kind of go back to a steel colour. And that means you've burnt through all of the colour stages. So that gets you to 400 degrees. Once it goes back to being the steel colour, it's over 500 degrees. And at that point, it begins its turn to red. When it goes that cherry red colour like this, that then is 850 degrees, and you've done something wrong, then you've annealed it. So it's very important when you do this not to overheat it. You must heat it enough to cook the oil and no more. It mustn't be 800 degrees. You must not change this to red. You don't want to see any form of orange, red or anything. Once it goes back to being steel, goes through its little rainbow stage, then it's time to take action, and we dip it in the oil and start burning it. So I'll show you what that works. I'll show you how it changes colour. Ready, Pen? You got a mask on. Pen's got a mask on. Be closer. Just from the head, because only the head will be exposed to the atmosphere. Take a few minutes, or about a minute or so, before it starts to take on the colour. There it goes, like a straw brown. There it is, now we're going blue. And now it's gone back to being steel. So there's all the colours. Before that gets any hotter, we're going straight in the oil. And the trick is to burn it. You want it to actually burn. Like a little candle. Keep it in the flame, will overheat the head. A little bit more. Just cooking the oil off, you're letting it burn itself off. One more. And there we go, I'm just going to let that burn off now. Just starts popping. We're coming close, you can see it while it's still alight. Now we've got the colours there. You can see the colours on the stem where it sort of went through those stages of rainbow, and there's still a little bit of grey to that. Now what we need to do with that is let it cool naturally. Now obviously I'm not going to put my hand on it because that would be silly, but just to dab off the worst of the oil, just so I can show you it. And there we are. Now what we've achieved here is a rust-proof bolt. Simple as that. Well, if you use old engine oil contains a lot of carbon. That's what it is, soot effectively, and that will blacken the steel a lot more than this. There we go. So there's the finished process. What you achieve, I can see that. I can see it there. That's it. Now it's actually quite a nice looking finish. Now, if you haven't overheated it, provided you haven't overheated it, that is as strong as it was before, no problems whatsoever, and that will now be completely rust-proof. You can use it in an external environment, it can bolt on a foot peg or bolt on a side stand or something like that, and you've got a bolt that is going to be secure and not start rusting in a few months' time. And it didn't cost anything, literally, a little cup full of oil, tip the rest back in the pot, job done. And you can use any form of oil you like, olive oil, vegetable oil, pork fat, whatever you like. And this process goes back, honestly, any of you guys watch the videos of people who make blades, who make swords and knives and axes, it's exactly the same process. You quench it in oil, and that has the act of also impregnating the steel with the oil so that it won't rust. Because you know what, your sword or your axe or whatever it is rusting, that's no good to you, is it? And you don't have to keep getting the rust and rubbing it off. So that's the same reason that blades are quenched in oil. There's other reasons I don't want to go into too deeply, but basically for the purposes of your motorcycle projects, if you're going to use basic raw steel bolts, which are very much the cheapest bolts there is, you can use something like that as a way of rust proofing the head, just the head, and you want to come in about an inch, and then when you put a little stainless washer under that, job done. Looks absolutely beautiful, nice shiny back, and it being that it's not paint, it won't chip off, it will stay there forever and look gorgeous. Anything else, Ben?
That's it.
Well, you know, this
Gorgeous bolts.
Gorgeous bolts. What's wrong with you? I was got the slogan, wasn't we? Gorgeous bolts. Is that ready to pick up yet? Not quite. It's a little bit hot still. There we go. Do that yourself. Have a little practice. We're not actually saying this is the exact correct way to do it, but it is a process that you can learn and you can use it for your bike. Remember, the most important thing is when you've done it all, don't go quenching it in freezing cold water because you'll jeopardise the security of the bolt and it will snap. You'll actually ruin the temper of the steel. Let it cool naturally. That's absolutely fine. Can we call it there, shall we?
Yep.
Okay, there we are. Happy New Year. Welcome back to Delboy's Garage for 2017. We've got lots and lots to come. Who knows where we'll be a year from now. Thank you so much for all of your amazing support. We hope this has helped you in some way or another. Penny, got anything to say?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Ride safe. We'll see you for the next one.